What are the best teams and partners for the brand new AGL LR Cell Max? How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We are back for another Dokkan Battle video. In today's video, we have the Part 2 Carnival LR AGL Cell Max. And in this video, we are going to break down for you his best teams and partners. In order to do that, we will take a look at the unit itself, right? We'll take a look at his kit and understand how his kit works within the context of his team. We'll discuss his links and best ones to maximize among, as well as which partners help you maximize those, and then of course which partners among the best teams to run him on can maximize those links. So let's go ahead and let's start by taking a look at Cell himself. So he leads movie bosses for 220%. He has a massively raised attack on for 4 turns on his 18 key, and a greatly raised attack and a raised defense, right? That's 30% defense raise on his 12 key, while also stunning and sealing. Now, that 18 key is incredibly important because that massively raise really makes it so his second turn and his best turn, especially with the domain active. And you'll see why here in a second as we take a look at what his passive is doing. So passive includes an entrance animation, which activates a 999% attack and defense boost. However, it is offset by the fact that he loses 111% every turn he's on rotation, no more than 444%. Basic effects include an additional key 1 per key sphere obtained, guard all attacks, and for 1 turn, 8 key, 70% damage reduction, 100% attack when attacking, and 100% defense when receiving an attack. Starting from his second turn, he can still get up to 8 key and 100% attack and 100% defense, but it's relegated to his HP. The more HP you have, the higher the build up. The less HP you have, the less damage reduction, the less offense, and the less defense you have. Again, both building up to 100% when receiving an attack and 100% when attacking. He has an active skill that can be activated that creates a domain, and while that domain is up during the active skill, or if you get 20 or more key, he will perform a critical hit and launch an additional super attack. Now, that domain can be activated when he has a full movie bosses team or starting from the 5th turn. And this is important because, right, he really excels while the domain is up with that additional 60% attack. Remember, the way domains work is it's essentially a support memory. Its effect is applied outside of all the other calculations. So it's actually insanely powerful for a lot of characters. And this is why I'm saying his second turn is actually his best turn, right? Because it gives him a turn to massively stack his attack and kind of build up a little bit while also taking in the support from the rest of the team. Then you pop that domain, you get the additional 60% attack on top of everything else, plus the massive stack, and now he's doing much, much better, right? Even just with one of those massive stacks up, because yeah, it's for 4 turns, so 2 turns would max him out, essentially, right? So with that said, right, this character seems pretty powerful, but how do you want to run him? Who do you run him with? Well, that's kind of based on his links. You can see here, links are Android Assault, Infighter, Berserker, Big Bad Bosses, Nightmare, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power, and unfortunately, there aren't a whole lot of characters that can help us maximize those, right? If we actually take a look at the Dokkan FYI, shout out to these guys, and I'll link this website in the description. I love using this website for kind of seeing all the different link partners and understanding who's building what for the character, right? So with a character like Cell Max, right, obviously offense is key. That's what he's meant for. He's meant to help blitz the enemy. And so we want to maximize his offensive links. So we want to maximize links like Berserker, Big Bad Bosses, Fierce Battle, Infighter, Legendary Power, Nightmare. Unfortunately, a lot of these links are hard to come by. Berserker, you're basically only going to find other Cell Maxes or Brolys to activate that, which makes it very hard. And of course, it only activates when 50% or less. That is difficult because of Cell Max's passive, who wants to be at full HP. But if we were to maximize it, right, we are actually getting about, right, 30% here, 25% here, 20%, 15%, 15, 15, right? So 30, 45, 65, 80, 110%, right, offense if we were to actually get it all activated. Unfortunately, we can't. When we actually look at his best partners, right, when we look at his 4-link partners, that's the best he's going to get from anyone here. We can actually see that most of his partners aren't going to give him what he wants, right? His best partner is the EZA Fizz Metal Cooler, which leaves out Berserker, Infighter, and Android Assault, though it does give him Big Bad Bosses, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power, and Nightmare, right? So that's still a 75% attack increase by it being linked with him, not including any support, right? LR17 gives him Android Assault, but drops Big Bad Bosses, which is honestly worse, right? Rose gives him Big Bad Bosses, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power, Nightmare, right? Pretty much the same things you're getting from this guy. But of course, right, with you wanting to run movie bosses with him, you may not always find these two on a team together. Honestly, if we had an LR13, that would be his best partner, because that would be a 5-link partner, right? If we get a new Super 13, providing Android Assault, Big Bad Bosses, Fierce Battle, Nightmare, and Legendary Power, right? That would honestly be best. And I could foresee one coming here in the near future. Looking at his 3-link partners, we can see he still has other major Big Bad Bosses movie boss characters that can work with him, right? You have Cooler, you have Turles, you have Metal Cooler, all still work great with him. Goma, if you can find a team with them together, they would, they would work well together. Baby, right? All of these, are typically characters you're going to find. There's quite a few setups too with Cell Max that you would find with Full Power, Wrathful Broly. So knowing that they share a team is also pretty powerful. Same goes for Omega, although they have a domain clash, so that could be tough. Sharing 3 links with a Janemba is actually really good here, because I do think, like 13, I do think another Janemba is on the horizon. So knowing that they share some links is pretty good too. Same goes for Cell, right? Sharing with other cells, right? If we could get like a second form cell, they would actually be really good partners. So that said, that kind of pretty much tells us how we're going to run this character here. So let's actually flip back over to game here and let's take a look at some of the teams we've put together. So knowing that we're going to basically maximize using the Fizz Metal Cooler as his partner, the first major team, honestly, I think is probably going to be the best, most consistent way to run him, because you have both Cell Max, LR Cooler, and Metal Cooler to blitz the bosses, right? With his domain up, they can easily clear 1 to 2 turn, 3-turn fights with that domain up. With the domain up, right, like LR Cooler is just chucking out 100 mil attack stats on his second appearance. LR SDR Cooler is chucking out 100 million, right? And then once the 2 Cell Max domains are up, you can swap into Fizz Turles and use their and use his domain and let the LR Coolers and the Metal Coolers kind of wrap things up from there once Cell Max has used off his usefulness. So if we actually want to pull up this team here, I'll kind of show you guys here. So let's flip back over to Dokkan FYI. So we look at the Dokkan FYI with this team setup here. We'll swap him for Metal Cooler. And we'll swap one of these guys over here. So more or less, right, like this is the team you're running here. You've got a lot of support floating around. You can see the synergy of the links here. Essentially, your 2 rotations would be something along these lines, like Cell Max and Cooler, and then Cooler and Cooler, with Floating Cooler, and then you can see you're basically set with these 2 setups here. So honestly, pretty darn good. Taking a look at some of the other teams, you're going to note a lot of consistencies between the teams. They're basically the same teams, just swapping 1 or 2 units out, right? If you don't have Tech Metal Cooler, right, a good option to fill in is AGL Golden Frieza. He also helps just kind of provide some extra slot 1 defense while Cell Max and the Coolers kind of handle business. You could also put in Fizz Cooler as well, or Garlic Jr. They also work. Speaking of Garlic Jr., you're looking at our next teams, right? He's another great option. He does provide a second revive. There is a bit of a revive clash between him and the Fizz Cooler on this one, but he's going to be floating mostly anyways. And for Fizz Cooler, he actually doesn't need to be... well, this doesn't show his EZA revive, but with his EZA revive, he doesn't need to be the one to revive to still be good. So you could honestly just let Garlic Jr. revive and then be completely okay. Another team we have here is the Androids team. We kind of talked about this one in his complete unit guide. This is a bit of a struggle team, and honestly, you can mix and match some characters, move some characters around, but it does work. In fact, if you're struggling with the uncontrollable power team, you could honestly swap in some characters that are on uncontrollable power and make this team work for that mission. But honestly, he's not a bad addition to 16's team. It honestly works pretty well. You could even swap off the 2 cells and put in AGL Gamma 1 and Gohan and the AGL Gamma 2, and it would work pretty well for this team, or the STR Gamma 2 and Piccolo. It would honestly make for a pretty powerful team. Next team, this is a team under the Golden Frieza here. Basically, the way I designed this team is... this was a team I saw on Twitter, and I kind of played around with it a bit, and it works surprisingly well. It mixes both movie heroes and movie bosses. Essentially, your rotations on this are obviously the Beast Gohan and the AGL Gohan, and then your Cell Max and your Metal Cooler together with your two Friezas floating and AGL Gamma 1 floating. You could swap the AGL Gamma 2, or not Gamma 1, the AGL Gamma 2 for STR Gamma 2 and Piccolo as well, and it would still work relatively well, although AGL Gamma 2 does provide a little more support, plus the attack lowering is pretty helpful on a lot of stages, but this is a pretty decent team here. The next team I have for you guys here, this one is designed if you may not have the Cell Max, so you didn't summon for him. A variation you can run of that is, of course, with Golden Frieza as your lead, LR Metal Cooler, Fizz Metal Cooler, AGL Garlic Jr., Tech Metal Cooler, and the Tech Turles. Now, if you don't have Tech Metal Cooler or Tech Turles, some options you can fill in for this team are the Broly, right? And Fizz, where is he? Fizz Cooler. If you don't want to use Broly, you want a little more synergy there, you can also swap my option that I mentioned earlier with the AGL LR Golden Frieza, and that could work relatively well. So these are just few of the teams that work well with this character. It's not an exhaustive list of teams, but I think it is a pretty good setup. Again, if you're going to run Cell Max at this current moment, his movie bosses teams is the best you're going to work with. It will give him his best link partner, which is Fizz LR Metal Cooler, as well as access to Tech Metal Cooler and his support through the Giant Form, and Tech Turles to kind of help clean up with his domain at the end for your other Space Traveling Warriors characters. That said, I do believe Cell Max himself is not meant to be the lead. I think he is designed, even though 2 of his domains is really nice, I think he is designed for a team that's coming down the road, possibly a super bosses variant of movie bosses, because he definitely seems like he's designed for content that we don't have right now, which is short content that wants to be blitzed. Content that can be finished in 3 or 4 turns. That's what he seems to be designed for, because beyond turn 4 and 5, you start to get into really risky territory with this character. So, that said, these are some teams to make them work with the current available content that we have. So, guys, that is it for our video. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let us know, what are the teams you like to run with the AGL Cell Max? Have you tried out our recommended team if you didn't pull the Cell Max? How did that work out for you? Let us know in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.